Greetings and welcome to this edition of
Positronic hypersonic.
Positronic hypersonic.
Positronic hypersonic.
I'm Barry P. Cook, and I'm here to talk to you about the season 2 finale of The Last of Us. The episode was called Convergence, and as it begins, after torturing Nora, Ellie returns to the theater. She reveals to Dina that Joel massacred the Fireflies in Salt Lake City, including Abby's father, to save her. Dina, unnerved, says she wants to return home. On Ellie's third day in Seattle, she and Jesse leave to find Tommy, arguing as they go about Ellie's selfishness. Jesse prevents Ellie from interfering when WLF soldiers assault a Seraphite youth. Jesse then reveals that he's figured out that Dina is pregnant with his baby. He then shares that he had fallen in love with someone else at one point from a passing group who had stayed in the town where he lives with Ellie, who asked him to join her and go to Mexico. But he stayed in his community out of loyalty to them. As the two continue to scope out Seattle, Ellie spots an aquarium, realizing that that's where Abby's located. Jesse at this point gets angry and admits that he voted against her proposition to avenge Joel in order to protect the community, stating that Ellie does things for selfish reasons. Jesse then leaves to search for Tommy while Ellie heads for the aquarium. En route to the aquarium across the river in a boat, Ellie is hit by a giant wave and beaches on the Seraphites' island, where she's apprehended by the group. Before they can kill her by hanging, which they tried to do, the WLF attack the island and Ellie escapes. At the aquarium, she confronts Abby's friends, Owen and Mel, and demands Abby's whereabouts. Owen grabs a concealed gun to shoot her, but Ellie fatally shoots him, and the same bullet strikes Mel's neck. The pregnant Mel then begs Ellie to save her baby via C-section as she's dying, but Ellie is too shocked to do so, and Mel passes away, with the baby still left inside her. Tommy and Jesse then show up and take the distraught Ellie back to the theater. Agreeing to return home, Ellie thanks Jesse for rescuing her, and they reach a mutual understanding. They then overhear a commotion and rush to the lobby of the theater, where Jesse is immediately shot dead by Abby, who has arrived at the theater to avenge her two friends, and she holds Tommy at gunpoint. Ellie surrenders, begging Abby to let Tommy live. She tells Abby that she's the one who killed her friends and was the person for whom Joel killed her father. Abby then angrily tells her that Ellie wasted her chance to live after Abby let her live, and points the gun at Ellie. And then a gunshot rings out. The scene then switches to 3 days earlier at the WLF base in a former sports stadium, where Manny wakes Abby up to take her to see their leader, whom they've both been summoned by. And that's where the episode and the season ended. So once again, this episode was faithful to the events of the game that it depicts. For the most part, they changed a couple of things. So I enjoyed that. But, I didn't enjoy the story of the second game as much as I enjoyed the story of the first game. So as a result, I've not really enjoyed the second season or any of the individual episodes as much as I enjoyed the first season. But I do want to say that the acting in this episode was fantastic, and it has been throughout the season, just as it was in the first season. And at least one of the things that they changed, I thought, was really powerful. They made a little bit more out of the scene where Ellie shoots Mel and accidentally kills her, in that in the game, if I'm remembering correctly, Mel doesn't beg Ellie to get the baby out. But in the show, she does, and it's a really traumatic scene for Ellie and a really gut-wrenching scene all the way around, because as more of her blood seeps out and as Mel is getting closer to death, she starts to hallucinate. And she thinks that Ellie is, in fact, performing a C-section to get the baby out when she isn't. She tells her, "Oh, you're doing a good job. You're doing well," even though she's not doing it. And then she says, "Is the baby out? Is the baby out?" And then she dies. And it was just crazy, sad, and, depressing and powerful. And I thought that was really great. I had forgotten that Jesse died in the second game. And so I was totally shocked when he just gets shot right out of the blue and dies in the episode, which, next season is not going to sit well with Dina, I don't think, even though she's not with him. he is the father for a baby, so there's probably going to be some drama there, and I imagine there was in the game, but I forget. So, so it's good that I'm watching the show. I can remember. But there was in this second season a real lack of confrontations with infested, which is not true of the game because it happened all the time in the game. I mean, you fought human enemies as well, but you also fought infected a lot, and that really wasn't as present in the second season. Although in the first season they were a little light on it as well. But anyway, these last couple of episodes there was hardly any of that, if any, and that kind of bugged me. And as I said in my last review, or one of my last reviews, I didn't really like how we didn't see Abby very much this season. And I guess the reason for that is because, again, they're mirroring the games where you don't really see her till the second half of the second game after she kills Joel. And then next season is going to be the second half of the second game where we're going to see Abby's story, which is what the second half of the second game was. So I guess it all makes sense, and I guess that's fine. But I think I would have preferred if the season were longer and they had shown part of Abby's story this season instead of cutting the season to 7 short, episodes and then covering her in her own season. I don't think that that's the best way to tell the story of the second game, breaking it up into 2 seasons when they could have just had one long season. I don't understand why they did that. I mean, I do. It's because streaming shows do short seasons as a rule, but they could have broken the mold. They could have done 12 episodes. They could have done 13 episodes. So I don't know. It's kind of a choice that kind of bugs me. But anyway, that's really all I have to say. I thought the episode was pretty good. I thought the best part of it was the scene where Ellie kills Mel and then can't bring herself to cut the baby out. And I think the season overall was okay, in that it was just as good as the game was for me, which, wasn't as good as the first game. But that's really it. I want to get out of here before I start repeating myself. I'll be back with another video soon. Until I return, I wish you peace and long life.